...2000 Toyota Camry XLE with the 3-liter V6. Gonna replace both rear struts. Looks like the car is sitting a little bit low and it makes a lot of noise going over bumps. Block both your front wheels. We'll loosen the lug nuts. Pull up on your seat cushion. Push the seat buckles through. Take the seat belt and put it behind the headrest. Find the anchor point for the side cushion. Should be a 12mm. Lift up on the cushion. Then you can pull it out. These are the 3 mounting studs. You just want to loosen the nuts on those first. Don't take them off. You're going to pull the seat forward. If it doesn't want to go, there's some locks in the trunk. I'll show you that. On the backs of the seats, there's a lock on each one. Make sure that's up. Now we can pull the seat down. Use a 12mm socket and ratchet if it'll fit in there. Just put this breaker bar on there so I can have a bit longer reach. Use whatever you can find to get the job done. Gonna use a 12mm gear wrench. I have the gear wrench on the back nut, and I'm just gonna put another wrench on the end to get more leverage. Once those top shock mounting bolts are loosened, and jack up the car. Place a jack stand underneath, just in case. Remove your lug nuts. Got a 12mm bolt for the brake line and a 10mm for the ABS sensor. Take those off. Pretty rusted. Have to try and crack that free without stripping it. We'll put some 3-in-1 spray on it. Probably won't help much. We'll clean up this other nut for the stabilizer link. Spray that as well. Get your 10mm. I'll have to reuse both of these bolts. Place some vice grips in behind. $14mm. That's still spinning. Yeah. Tighten those up a bit. Still spinning. Gonna try and clean this out. Get an Allen key in there. It's pretty rusted though. Probably have to just cut it off. Yeah, there's no way to stop that sway bar link nut and stud from spinning, so I'm just gonna cut it off, replace the sway bar link. Same thing with the bottom nut too, gonna have to cut that off. Be careful of the brake line when you're cutting this one. Just tuck it down there. Put the vice grips back on the back. See how I cut the bolt there, the nut? Comes off no problem. So it looks like I'm gonna have to jack up the shock a bit. Put the jack underneath here. We have two 19mm nuts on the strut. Gonna have to take the brake caliper off to get at that top nut there. So there's a bolt to the brake caliper on the top and on the bottom here as well. So we got a 14mm on there. When you have those two bolts out, you can pull the brake caliper off. Set it down somewhere where there's no tension on the brake line. Okay, put the 19mm back on the top here. To use an extension. The other side's spinning, so put a wrench on that. Got a wrench jammed up against the inside of the wheel well. Just gonna leave that bolt in there for now, get the bottom. Put a wrench on the bolt head, jammed it in there so it won't spin. Now I just want to pull the bolts out. Now we're gonna take these nuts off the rest of the way. Have to lift the strut at the same time. If you got somebody around to help you, it makes it easier. Just lower the jack down. Just gonna have to hammer this old strut off a bit. Of course, it's rusted on there. Pull that out. Just gonna clean up the insides where the strut attaches so it has a nice fit there. Clean up on the top as well. Just use a wire brush. Got two Monroe quick struts from Canadian Tire. Buy one, get one half off. You can see the new strut has all the same dimensions for hooking everything back up. This warning came stuck onto the top nut here in the center. Don't want to take that off for any reason. This quick strut came with 3 new nuts for the top. They're 13mm or ½ inch. We're gonna line this up in there and get 1 or 2 of these started. That's sitting there, and we'll line this up, get the bolts through. Get one of the nuts started on there. Put the bottom one in. On this 3-liter V6 XLE, the torque spec is 188 foot-pounds for these two lower mounting bolts. Got the new stabilizer bar link here. It's the same size as the old one. And I believe it's 29 foot-pounds on these nuts. Just check your specs for your own vehicle. Put a jack underneath so you can lift the strut up and line up your stabilizer bar link. Bottom in there. Get it started. Put some vice grips on the back. Be careful not to wreck the boot. A 15mm. Go to 29 foot-pounds. Do the same for the bottom. Lower down the jack. Put the brake caliper back on. Line the two bolts back up at the back. Tighten the caliper torque plate bolts, one on top, one on the bottom, 14mm to 34 foot-pounds. Put your 10mm bolt back in the speed sensor wire. And 12mm for the brake line. It's pretty rusty. So we'll put the wheel back on and then lower the car down so we can tighten the nuts on the top of the strut mount. Just gonna lower the car down now. You can see the studs come up there, loosened up. So on this car here, these ones say 59 foot-pounds. I won't be able to get the torque wrench in there probably, but just tighten them up. So these new nuts were stripping. I think they're tight enough, but you can see the old one lifts up where you put the wrench quite a bit higher so that it's easier to get at them. So if they fit, I'd recommend putting the old ones back on. Make your life a little bit easier. Once you have the top mounting nuts on, you can take your cushion, slide it back into place, and put your bolt in the bottom there. 12mm socket and ratchet for this. Torque these lug nuts down, 76 foot-pounds. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. I'll just film if I do anything differently, and then show the last little bit of putting the seat back together. Got the other side on with the new stabilizer bar link. I'm just going to put the wheel on, drop it down, and then put the top mounting nuts on the strut. Push the front clips back in. And that's it. We're all done for the rear struts.